name is Sam Nugent. I'd like to welcome you to my house, What Ranch. When we bought this property in 1995, it was pretty much clear cut. We drove up to it and they had it advertised as a ranch, 10-acre ranch. And we said, What Ranch? And so the name stuck. So welcome to What Ranch in beautiful Joyce, Washington. I wanted to invite you on a journey. I am a marketing coordinator for a automobile company on the peninsula here, and during the recent few months I have discovered a new passion. I've been an artist for many years. Prior to working as a marketing coordinator, I had about 15 years in the garment business. And so I was able to travel to the Orient quite a bit, and it was at that point that I realized that the word Wat has another meaning. In Thailand, Wat is temple. So this is Wat Ranch in more than one way. I would like to ask for you to join me on a journey. We'll walk around on the property a little bit, but I'll also talk about my Kickstarter project, which has come to fruition because of some things that have happened in the last couple months. I have discovered that I'm really feeling a connection to wood. I'm really feeling a disconnect from my world of corporate work. This project is merely to build a place where I can bring my wood into a sacred place to bless it before I use it. It's important for me, for the projects and the objects that I create, not to put myself into it. So we're walking now to where I come to before I start on a project. As I said, this land was cleared when we got here, and all this growth that you see is in the last 25 years. This has all come up with the exception of what we call Mama Sitka. So in the late 1800s, they cleared this land of trees, mostly through horse trailers. In around 1917 or so, they built a railroad through here to access the Sitka spruce. When this was just a baby during the first harvest, and by the time they came back for the second cut, this had a split top, and so it was left behind. This Sitka spruce is probably in the neighborhood of 150 years old, and I have measured it, and it is well over 6 arm breadths around the base. So this is Mama Sitka. And this is where I come for my spiritual power and rest and ease. So recently, on my last journey to Thailand, just before COVID hit, my wife and I went to Thailand and visited northern Thailand and some temples there. And I was introduced to the concept of Kuan Yin, the goddess of mercy, she who hears all voices. And I was shocked that I had never heard of her before. So I came back with that, and then COVID struck, and I was stuck at home, and I began experimenting. Well, first of all, I was compelled to do something artistically. Now, I've been an artist for all my life, but it's always been a hobby, not a driving force like it is now. So, as you saw, I started creating these temples. Now, this is a piece of yew that was gifted to me. The beautiful thing about yew is that it sheds its outer limbs quite often. So these are all downed. I never cut any living yew. But this is from a branch. And we estimate that this particular piece is probably about 500 years old, and somewhere between 300 and 500 years old. And the rootstock of this is much, much older than that. So I'm inviting you to help me take this model and create a full-scale one. Pacific Northwest is very wet in the wintertime, so coming out here to do any work would be a little bit wet, and I'd like to have a temple built. I'm thinking that somewhere in this area would be my preference, maybe here or right here near the Sitka tree, but this tree is visible from all points on my property. Here are a few of the things that I'm offering if you'd like to help. These are very simple little pieces of yew. When I work with a piece, I try not to waste any piece of it. Everything that I pull off of this, I will attempt to find a use for. So this is the first level. Then I discovered that my laser cutter allows me to etch into stone. And so I'm combining stone and wood. So this would be the next level. These are relics, kind of. They're just replicas. I put them on the scrap pieces of yew. The temple would be primarily made of cedar because that's the longest lasting wood here on the Olympic Peninsula. But of course, I would use as much yew as I could for trim work and details. I'll probably want to open this up a little bit to make it so that you can actually walk through it. This seems a little low, so it might be a little bit different. There might be changes to it, but I hope that you will join me. Here's another piece of yew that I had, and this is what it turns into. It's just gorgeous. Now, I don't have much experience with woodworking, but this has come to me in a way that I simply can't resist. And so this ask is not much. I can afford to build a small temple. But I thought it would be fun in looking at Kickstarter to invite others to join me and to bring your energy here as well. We've had so much turmoil and conflict of mind and all the things that are going on in the world right now. I can't help but think that there are so many more people that are like-minded and peaceful and want to bring harmony back to this planet. So I'm putting this out as an offer to join me. Now, you don't have to donate anything if you want to put your name into the book, or anyone that you love, or a list of names of people that you want included in this temple. This temple will be a sort of holder for memories, and a place where those who have come before are remembered. If you look at the plan I've got for the temple, it's situated on 4 stones, 4 pillars, and those are to represent past, future, present, and awareness. I believe that living in the moment is important, but without these other 2 aspects, we tend to stagnate. I also believe that without awareness, those 3 elements don't come together as they should. So, I'm going to ask again, please join me on this. I have 10 acres, relatively quiet. There is a highway that runs over there. The property is beautiful. I haven't had the time really to spend on it. And now that I'm in my 60th revolution on this planet, it's time to start thinking about what it is that I really want to do. what it is that will really speak to my soul and leave something behind that I can be proud of. For years, I thought I would have to build out of stone for something permanent. But the land has taught me that this wood here is here, and it holds the memories of everything that's happened. I just am enamored with what I find now when I open up a piece of wood and it speaks to me. It's important for me not to put my will into that, to force the wood in any way. And when I relax and let it do what it wants to do, I'm amazed. This is the original homestead. There is power and water here, but I haven't done anything with it. But this is where the original people lived. Once they had cleared off all the trees, they sold it, and we bought it in the early to mid 1990s. There was one pole barn in the middle that we lived in while we were preparing to build the house. My wife and I took a year off. Her name is Kat, by the way. Kat and I took a year off and built our house. It was an amazing endeavor for me, very rewarding as well. But I have to put food on the table. I had to raise 2 boys. We had to raise 2 boys. And you just do what you have to do. But now I have to do something else. And I have no idea how I'm going to accomplish it. But I'm going to. It's happening. And there's no denying it. So this is another possible location here. This is a little bit high land. Might be good. Down here in the center of the property is where the old railroad came through, where they hauled away all the Sitka spruce for the biplanes in World War I. By the time they got the railroad completed, the war was over, and the demand for biplanes fell sharply, so they took the railroad out not too long before we got here. The barn is where I have my wood shop. I probably don't have the best equipment, but I use what I have and attempt to find a way to get what's in my mind physically in front of my eyes. It's an amazing, magical process when it happens. I'm using a laser cutter, 40-watt laser cutter. It's very slow, but it does remarkably well in giving me details in the wood. It doesn't cut as deeply as I'd like, so I can't cut out as many objects as I like, but I am able to do quite a bit of engraving, and that's turned out to be quite a joy. The ivy is taking over this fence line, but some time ago we planted hops on that, and they're doing really well. I didn't expect us to be able to grow hops out here this far west, but they're doing well. So I hope you find this a suitable location for this project. I know I have, and I've spent a lot of time meditating on it to be sure that the tree and I agree. When we came here, the first thing we did was ask her if we could stay here, and she has welcomed us wholeheartedly. I could have moved followed a career to New York or LA, and probably made 6 times the amount of money that I made. But that's not my ambition. My ambition is to stay here and to take care of this land. I think the bottom line is, I'm not asking for your support monetarily as much as I'm asking for your support time-wise. Help me find a way to stay here and do things that send energy of peace and mercy and love into the universe. It couldn't hurt. Thank you. And I look forward to sending something to you to remind you that this project is real and is happening. And again, I will put the names in the Book of Remembrance because that is what this is about. Remembering those who came before us, anticipating those who will follow us, and being here to take care of the place so that it's welcoming, safe, and shares the memory and love of the people who work so hard to make us stand here and say, that's a nice place. Anyway, thank you. Aho. Namaste.